Tonight on Connecticut's news station, public safety taking top priority in Westport days after a brazen carjacking. What officials recommend you do to avoid falling victim.
And we're talking transportation in the eastern part of the state. Expanding rail service is on track, but those big plans come with even bigger costs. We're unpacking if it's even feasible.
Our nice sunny stretch continues, but it can only last so long. What we're tracking for the weekend coming up.
And a field of dreams for ball players of any and all abilities unveiled in Vernon. We'll take you down to the Diamond, where one group is making it so everyone can enjoy America's pastime.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight in Westport, where concerns about safety took center stage days after a scary carjacking. Thanks for joining us for the news at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. The carjacking was all caught on camera. Police say a man was followed and attacked in his own garage. And tonight, the police department addressed some of the community's concerns.
Fox 61's Gabby Molina is live in front of Westport Town Hall tonight with those details. Gabby, what can you tell us?
Brent and Sarah, there were dozens of people that packed the town hall tonight to voice some of those concerns about car thefts and the escalating problem here in town. Many of them left on edge after that carjacking that happened over the weekend.
I think that's the biggest concern we all have, is that we saw a resident, basically be attacked in his own driveway.
Westport residents worried about safety in the wake of a violent carjacking at a man's home. Surveillance video showing the moment two people enter the man's garage and pull him out of his Aston Martin before taking off with the car. Police believe the victim was followed to his home.
The car thefts that we've had and how they began here with at night and open car doors is completely different than being followed home and dragged out of your car to steal it.
Police were able to quickly find the stolen car at a home in Berlin, where 3 other high-end stolen cars were found. An adult resident of that home was arrested. A 16-year-old was also arrested in connection to the carjacking. Many residents reiterating the same calls we've been hearing for months, demanding something be done to address the issue of car thefts on a state level.
If we need to look at it as a whole, what we can do from a state legislation to protect everybody, because this is just not Westport. From what I understand, it's happening all over.
At a public forum on safety Wednesday evening, Westport police shared that in 2023 so far, there have been 50 car thefts. They say that's on par with last year, but there is a difference.
But what's a little alarming and a little different now, where the bulk of the cars last year were taken in the overnight hours, we're starting to see it creep into the daylight hours.
Police say they're doing everything they can to keep people safe, but are also asking the public to do their part, pointing out that most car thefts do happen when cars are left unlocked and with the key fob inside.
Lock their car doors, be cognizant of their surroundings, and report anything suspicious.
Westport police say the investigation into that carjacking is ongoing, and they do expect to make more arrests. Live in Westport, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Yeah, that one was a bit unnerving right there.
I know, a lot of useful things to think about now.
Turning to the forecast now, we're in store for a beautiful week here in Connecticut, but the weekend is maybe a little less certain.
Yeah, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look. Rachel, today was gorgeous.
Top 10 weather day, and let's do it again tomorrow, shall we? Right now in the Hartford area, we're looking at temperatures that are already dropping quickly into the 50s, and as we head into tomorrow morning, it will be in the 40s for most of the state. Right now, 53 degrees in Willimantic, upper 50s for the New Haven area, but overnight lows will be dipping. Take a look, 48 for the Hartford area, 45 or so for Willimantic, Windham area, close to 50 for the Connecticut shoreline. So a chilly start to the day for sure, but a nice rebound as we head through the middle of the day and into the afternoon. So after a refreshing start to the day with lots of sunshine, by lunchtime, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 60s. 60s, and by later in the day, high temperatures will climb into the low to mid 70s. We're looking at another great day for Friday as well, but heading into the weekend, there is a rising chance for some showers. We're still trying to figure out the nitty-gritty details of the forecast, though, and there's a couple different scenarios that could end up playing out. We'll talk about it, your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A Waterbury man stood before a judge today on charges of animal abuse. 38-year-old Emmanuel Pizarro Borio turned himself into police months after his young husky was found walking 3 miles from his house, sick and with a 28-inch chain embedded in his neck. Police say Pizarro Borio admitted to putting that chain on the dog that police have since named Justice.
The dog was living in a shed outside, was tethered via the chain, and it had been heard previously yelping and scratching at the wall.
This doesn't happen very often, that we can bring someone to justice.
And you'll be glad to hear this. Police and Animal Control are happy to report that Justice has recovered and is in much better health today. And they are currently working to find a permanent home for the dog. As a condition of the charges, Pizarro Boria is not allowed to have any animals. He is out on bond after promising to check in with the court weekly.
New at 10, Glastonbury police are investigating one of their own, an ex-cop. They're calling this unnamed former officer a person of interest in a burglary investigation that spans beyond Glastonbury. Police say as their detectives dug deeper, they got a tip that the former officer could be connected. The State Police Major Crimes Unit is also working the case. They've not named this officer as a suspect. Bridgeport police have a man in custody they say was involved in a nightclub shooting in 2020. The video you're looking at now was a vigil held in honor to honor 21-year-old Nair Nixon, who was shot at the Keystone Lounge. Police believe Charles Lee Young, who's already in federal custody on unrelated charges, pulled the trigger. He's expected to be arraigned in Bridgeport Superior Court this October with a bond set at $1.5 million.
In New Haven, a federal grand jury has returned a 5-count indictment charging a man in a string of armed robberies from back in May. Gary Johnson Jr. was arrested after a 24-hour crime spree where he allegedly robbed 2 convenience stores, one in West Haven and one in New Haven. Police say in both instances he was brandishing a ghost gun. He has been in custody since his arrest shortly after the New Haven robbery and today pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Hartford police say their narcotics unit has completed a drug bust that took illegal firearms and narcotics off the streets. They say they raided Angel Grocery Smoke Shop and another unnamed smoke shop, both on Park Street. In total, they found 4 guns that were either stolen or illegally owned, along with multiple oxycodone pills. So far, 3 people have been arrested facing multiple charges.
A Milford police officer has officially resigned from the force after being placed on administrative leave during an internal investigation. The department was looking into Officer Scott Nablin's handling of a protective order violation requested by Julie Minogue. Now, she was the mother who was allegedly killed by her ex-boyfriend, Ewan DeWitt, back in December. Investigators found that Minogue had gone to Milford Police in November to file a complaint against DeWitt, and if processed in a timely manner, that could have led to DeWitt being arrested for violating his protective order against Minogue. Now, Officer Nablin was accused of not acting quickly enough in processing that arrest. It's not clear if the internal investigation was ever completed. Nablin resigned sometime over the summer. It's not clear if that was related to the investigation.
New at 10 tonight, the Connecticut Department of Transportation is looking into what it would take to expand service for Shoreline East.
But the possibility of expansion faces multiple hurdles before becoming anything close to reality. Fox 61's Jake Garcia is live in Branford now with details on the study and what comes next. Jake.
Well, the study is part of a legislation passed by the General Assembly in 2021, looking at how an expansion would look, including additional rail stops and a connection to Norwich. Now the public has a chance to weigh in.
This is certainly something that I would want money to go to.
Findings of a feasibility survey conducted by the Connecticut Department of Transportation were released this week, exploring what it would take to expand the Shoreline East train service past New London all the way to the Rhode Island state line. The expansion would include occasionally using tracks currently used for freight trains for a passenger train connecting Norwich to New London, but it comes with the hefty price tag.
The findings basically show that there could be demand, a threshold to sort of meet a demand to expand this service, to expand transit options in the region, but that it would cost $1 billion. Maybe more.
Money is not the only thing standing in the way, but also improvements to infrastructure.
When we're talking about railroad bridges, the standards for freight rail lines are much different than they are for passenger rail.
Earlier this year, Governor Ned Lamont approved cutbacks on the number of trains from New London to New Haven in order to save money due to the slow recovery of passengers using the Shoreline East after the pandemic. But that has made passengers more frustrated, with many finding more convenient means of transportation.
I actually got tripped up by this. This trip was supposed to be yesterday, and it ended up being today because I was running around looking for trains that didn't exist.
The push to connect Shoreline East passengers to the ocean state that could provide connection to places like Boston, as companies like Amtrak are hoping to expand south into Rhode Island. But it's far from reality.
This is a first step, right? This is sort of just scratching the surface. It's a very high level study.
State lawmakers hope this would create similar growth in southeastern Connecticut, as seen along the Hartford and New Haven line corridors, all while getting passengers to their destination on time. Now, the Connecticut Department of Transportation is taking public comment for another month, so there is still time to have your voice heard before this report is finalized and presented to lawmakers later this year. Live from Branford, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Jake. United Illuminating is appealing a decision by Pura, which blocked them from issuing a rate hike they requested earlier this year. The energy company says there will be dire consequences for customers in the long run if that requested rate hike is not honored. Their CEO argues that if they are not allowed to raise distribution rates by about 5%, investors will not be interested in working with them. That would result in offering investors higher, more competitive rates, which then threatens to increase customer bills in the future. There's still no word tonight on when the court plans to consider the appeal.